Good Sangpo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Sharab Zangmo. In the headlines, His Majesty the King inaugurated the 152-meter-long Panbang Bridge in Shamgang. His Holiness the GELEPHU consecrated the Kunfen Selcholing Shirim Lobda at GELEPHU in Mongar. And Bhutan and Bangladesh have concurred to renew the bilateral trade agreement before its validity expires in November this year. His Majesty the King inaugurated the 152-meter-long Panbang Bridge in Shamgang. The inauguration ceremony was also graced by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen.
His Majesty said while the construction of such a bridge was an achievement, the real objective would be realized when it starts bringing greater prosperity to the people through connectivity and meeting the aspirations of the people.
Ngaragi tawdalu sam seruta shitin khochedi te kachwe khachu so chin samdi dubde ina menala ngaratawa chin samdi dubde me sitebe normal dubde di samleten duko lamleten ngachira mise nyamchusu de mise nyamchugi pende de kidulu pentoba chin de dubde ngomadere timbala ngachira masu rinlugi shijam seruda the compare Tanigi Tundele, Major Missisugi, Beljugi Chala Zeruda, the Nadinile Nausochira Poro Menkanalu, Jamtoto vi Hupel, Trizumbe, the Torongacheregi Najunsu Lobjana Lutsubda, Konragi Cho into the Maumbagi Tundele, the Tab de Totobe Zosubachin, the Tanjulu Major Missisu, Gatoto, Kitonto, Lagachira Beru Tab de Toto, Tanjulu. Ngachera misisu kaira pachato tobe rangi yugalu desul. The ngaragi tari na ondi be anebe padatsu ede enta bodalo samdi jewda the samdi dubde me samle tendibe ngachera na shemgan zonkak the ngachera na panbang chungkagi misegi pende de dedolo pentoju setebe reoda melomiyusa.
The steel arch bridge, which is currently the longest in Bhutan, was constructed with financial support from the government of India. The Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Indian Ambassador to Bhutan, senior government officials, elected representatives, Dzongkhag and Dungkhag officials and thousands of villagers from the neighboring villages attended the inauguration ceremony. Meanwhile, His Majesty the King, accompanied by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen, visited Samtsi, Gomtu, Lamuizinkha and GELEPHU during the ongoing royal tour to the southern Dzongkhags before arriving in Panbang. Later in the afternoon, Their Majesties visited Sonamthang Middle Secondary School in Panbang and granted audience to students and teachers. Compiled for Karma Tsiring, Sonam Rinchen for BBS News.
The bridge over the Dramichu in Panbang under Shamgang Dzongkhag is finally completed. It took nearly 4 years to complete the much-awaited bridge.
The bridge will now connect Joka, Pankar, Goshing and some of the villages under Ngangla Gyeoks with Panbang Dungkhag. With the bridge, people will no longer have to use horses to transport goods and cross the river with the help of the suspension bridge. This old suspension bridge served as a lifeline for the people of 4 Gyeoks for many decades. The bridge functioned as a gateway for people exiting the Gyeoks to other Dzongkhags. Almost everyone in Lower King used the bridge to cross the mighty Drangmichu. With well-linked road, people say the trading has become much easier and life has become easy now.
Sambachi chabe beyogang lente namra joro te namsami jochocho imela tangachina kinglungmagi midusugite namsami te da pento namsami kinglungmi midusul namsam pento bomi sichinela
namginsemi biasemi da nam numusemi nimasemi da atara namra judi veru namisami dito dikito da jui sichinwi
da misrgara jirtang gara dujulbenigi tokcham mebbe da dujulbenigi namisami da pemba bombera tonime sichinil.
Meanwhile, Panbang Drungpa said the bridge will help connect the transport network and uplift the living condition of the people and improve their socio-economic status.
Now because of this bridge, we can go to any part of our country without any problem, number one. Number two, with this bridge, now almost Heng area, I mean lower part of Heng area is open to the rest of our country also. Now, without this bridge, even if we have our farmers in the kiosks, there will not be much benefit. But because of this bridge, the traffic is open.
The construction of the bridge, costing 150 million niltum, began in 2010 with financial assistance from the Government of India. Kampal for Karmasring, Sonam Hamo for BBS News.
His Holiness the GELEPHU consecrated the Kunfen Yösel Choling Shirim Lobda at Gelpushing in Mongar last Sunday. The Shirim Lobda will be first of its kind in the Eastern Dzongkhaks. It is similar to the Shirim Lobda at Dishin Phodram in the capital. The construction was actually planned to accommodate 200 monks, but now it will only be enough for 200 monks due to lack of space. The school will start at the end of this month. It was constructed at a cost of more than 50 million yultrum with funds from the Government of India. The chairperson of Bhutan Education City Board, Doji Choten, who is the Minister of Works and Human Settlements, said the land of the Education City project was an issue of discussion in all the board meetings and it was never clarified. She was speaking to our producer Sonam again.
Board had, in the previous term, board had 4 meetings.
Yes.
So I looked at all those minutes, you know, what were the discussion. Land was an issue of discussion all along.
Yes.
And at some point in time, it was also recorded saying that we have to now propose amendment of the Land Act to National Land Commissions. So these are clearly recorded in those minutes. So I want to clarify to the public that this was there. The land issue was not clarified till date when I took over as the chair and then we had the meeting. So when I took over as the chair of the board, and my first meeting we had was on October 2013.
Yes.
So at that time, I was briefed by the CEO. CEO was also fairly new.
Yes.
He had only joined in June 2013. So he briefed me, and when he briefed me on 3 points. One is on land. He told me that now we have reached the final stage of registration and we should be getting the land registration soon. And the second is on the ongoing ancillary works, the road, bridges, water supply, all the works that are taking place, how the works are going on. And then third one is establishing that secretariat properly, because there were not many people there. So we, the board, in our few meetings, so we decided that all should go, you know, and we did not touch anything. We took full confidence and said we will continue this project as planned, and then we did that. Only towards the third and fourth meeting, then this issue of illegality came, and then we finally got also a letter from National Land Commission saying that it violates the provision of the Land Act. So the question here is not about the concessional agreement changing and then you can fix the problem. I think it's really the Land Act being violated. Clauses in the Land Act, for example, 90 years. The Land Act only permits 30 years lease period, whereas it's clearly said 90 years, but it says automatic renewal. Even automatic renewal is not mentioned in the Land Act. And then, of course, the leasing and subleasing is another major issue. And these are the foundations where this whole implementation modality is based.
Yes.
So it is the core business modality that violates the Land Act.
Yes.
So it's not about modifying certain things and then you can move along.
Bhutan and Bangladesh have concurred to renew the bilateral trade agreement before its validity expires in November this year. The bilateral trade agreement was signed in 1980 and it was last renewed in 2009. This was one of the main outcomes of the 2-day Commerce Secretary level meeting between Bhutan and Bangladesh. The meeting ended on Thursday with the signing of the minutes of the meeting between the two countries.
Besides the renewal of the bilateral agreement, Bangladesh has agreed to provide concessions on some of the items exported to Bangladesh.
For example, the Bangladeshi side agreed to provide duty-free and tax-free access on our fruit juices in Tetra Pak. That is one thing. And the other one is the pebbles and gravels, which we are exporting to Bangladesh. There are some items which were not fully included in the concession, so the Bangladesh side also agreed to include that under the duty-free market access condition.
And Bhutan has also received a proposal from Bangladesh on bilateral transit agreement.
We already received a proposal from Bangladesh government, and we will be getting back to them, conveying our views and comments on that. And then following that, we have decided to look into the possibilities of moving forward. And also then another important one is Bhutan's intention to use the inland waterways, Bangladesh waterways. That will also be considered when we look into the possibility of entering into a bilateral transit agreement.
Bangladesh currently grants duty-free and tax-free on 18 products of Bhutan. The products are vegetables, fruits, fruit juices, jams, pickles, and other mineral products. Bimal Harden, BBS News.
Bhutan joined the global community to observe the World Health Day. The day was observed in Phinceling on Monday. This year, the day focused on vector-borne diseases with the theme Small Bite, Big Threat. About 70% of the country's total population resides in malaria-risk, dengue-prone and chikungunya-affected areas. Phinceling, in particular, being the commercial hub and a bordering town, remains prone to dengue and malaria. Therefore, the Health Minister Tandawangcho, while addressing the gathering, said it was important for people to be aware about the diseases and methods to prevent the spread.
Vector-borne diseases are preventable. If you change the stored water regularly, maintain clean drains and also properly maintain the flower pots where water tends to remain stagnant, then we can prevent most of such diseases. And it is important to prevent the spread, not just for the people in the town, but for all other Bhutanese people who come to Phinceling for shopping and pilgrimage.
The Health Minister also reminded that while the ministry has been successful in controlling malaria significantly, there are still chances of outbreaks if proper hygiene is not maintained. As part of the ceremony, participants from the two-day advocacy program on vector-borne diseases also presented their recommendations for controlling the spread of vector diseases in the community. The recommendations included issues ranging from requirement of Tromde health officer to sharing of information on vector mapping in the area. To observe the day, an awareness exhibition on vector-borne disease was also held. This was followed by a cleaning campaign in and around the town area. Kampal Fosonomongdi, Sharab Zangmo for BBS News. On 24th February this year, hoteliers in GELEPHU were notified to use commercial gas cylinders. They were given 1 month time to buy and use the commercial gas or pay a fine of 10,000 Yultrum. During a surprise check earlier this month, the Regional Trade and Industry Office found many of them still not using the commercial gas.
Officials of the Regional Trade and Industry Office inspected about 80 commercial establishments, including hotels, restaurants, canteens and other eateries in the core town area. Those found not using the commercial gas cylinders were given letters immediately asking them to pay a fine of 10,000 Yultrum in 1 week's time.
Hotel means everything to us. In a day, we don't even earn 3,000 to 4,000 Yultrum because it is summer and we have to pay a rent of about 40,000 Yultrum. We have to pay the workers here as well. To refill one ordinary gas cylinder, it costs about 475 Yultrum, but for refilling commercial gas, you have to pay equivalent to refilling 5 ordinary LPG cylinders, and it don't even last for 4 days.
Compared to the ordinary cylinders, the commercial cylinder is very expensive for a small hotel like mine. Moreover, in GELEPHU, there aren't many customers, so it is not fair. We went yesterday and even today. There's no cylinder available with the dealer, so we have no other alternative but to use the regular cylinder. We cannot afford to close down the business.
The dealer of the commercial LPG gas cylinders said they were not able to supply the cylinder due to the strike in Assam, which actually rescued the hoteliers. They will no longer have to pay the fines but get commercial gas cylinders in the next 7 days. But failing to comply with the rule after imposition of penalty will result in cancellation of their licenses. Ishori Gurung, BBS News, GELEPHU.
People of Pema Gatsil are fuming over the recent transfer of their gynecologist to Phinseling Hospital. The issue was also raised at the recent Zongkhak Sogdo. The gynecologist of Pema Gatsil District Hospital was transferred to Phinseling Hospital in February, and the others in the hospital's gynecology unit were transferred to Samrup Jongkhar Hospital. At the recent Zongkhak Sogdo, local representatives expressed their disappointments over it.
I'm sure the government must have established the gynecology unit after studying the problems and the needs of the women in the Zongkhak. The district health officer has explained that women population in Samrup Jongkhar is more than here. We are not saying the service should not be provided to Samrup Jongkhar. My concern is withdrawing the service and taking it elsewhere appears to have been prompted by vested interest.
We had no problem before. Now pregnant women are facing problem during delivery because there is no gynecologist. Pregnant women are being referred to Mongo Hospital, which is very far from here. We hope the ministry and government will send another team here. The gynecologist here not only benefits Pema Gatsil Zongkhak but also Wamrong and Timshing Dungkhak in Tashigang.
The Zongkhak health officer said the decision was taken without consulting with the Zongkhak. He said that it is a setback after spending time and resources in putting up the unit.
The Zongda and I did not know about the transfer of the gynecologist. It is sad to know that the gynecologist has been transferred after taking so much effort in setting up the unit. There was no budget and equipment while setting up the unit. According to the study carried out by the ministry after commissioning the unit, it shows that delivery cases are more in Samrup Jongkhar.
The chief medical officer also agrees that the hospital is facing problem now without a gynecologist.
Since I'm a general doctor, I'm as far as possible trying to deliver all the normal deliveries. But in case if we come across pregnancy related complications like obstructed labor, breech presentation, postpartum hemorrhage, we are actually referring all these cases to Tashigang Hospital and Monghar Hospital. Since Deotham Hospital doesn't have a gynecologist right now, we have to depend on the gynecologists in Tashigang and Monghar session.
People of Pema Gatsil say they are hoping the government will send a replacement soon. Kampal Futiledoji, Sherab Zangmo for BBS News. The much-awaited water supply restoration works in Uzurung Geok in Tashigang is finally underway. The water supply was disrupted while carrying out Samrup Jongkhar Tashigang Road widening works. The restoration work is expected to be complete in about a couple of weeks from now.
Uzurung Geok has been facing acute shortage of water for more than 2 years now. The Samrup Jongkhar Tashigang Road widening works disrupted the Geok's water supply from Namtala Drang, which led to the shortage. The restoration works began in February this year. It was supposed to be completed last month, but got delayed due to lack of materials at the site.
If we had all the materials that we required, we could have finished it within 3 weeks. But now it's over a month due to lack of materials. Now hereafter, if we receive the materials, it will take only a week to complete the restoration works.
The restoration works are being carried out with funds from the Geok Development Grant. The Geok will be spending 500,000 Nultrum to restore the water supply. Once complete, it is expected to end the current water crisis in the Geok. the water supply will benefit more than 250 households in the Gyeok. Compiled for Cheche, Kinzang-ishi, PBS News.
Disabilities in newborn babies can now be identified, and thanks to rapid neurodevelopment assessment, a toolkit developed by Bangladesh, physiotherapists and physiotechnicians from across the country attended training on assessment of high-risk babies in GELEPHU recently.
Children between the age of 0 to 9 years are considered the most susceptible to various levels of physical and cognitive disabilities. However, identifying disability in children early is a challenge. Now this is possible with rapid neurodevelopment assessment, a tool developed by Bangladesh. Early detection of disability means early intervention leading to higher success rates.
Some children are born, but some children will experience disability because of sickness.
Participants identified social status, environment, nutrition and diet, digital technology, education, parenting and physical activities as some of the factors that take away ability for a child to develop properly.
The researchers have found that we should not encourage children or not even provide children with handheld devices. As much as possible we should minimize, and all parents should take responsibility of spending quality time with children by not allowing them to spend their time hooking onto the internet or playing games or just watching TV, which are basically like a mechanical babysitter, they say.
Disabilities can be subtle as well as severe. Subtle cognitive disabilities are difficult to identify. However, with the help of R&D toolkit, early detection is possible and intervention can be effective for children below 9 years.
I work kids mostly with physical disabilities who has problem with learning. But besides physical disabilities, autism is on the rise, and children with learning disabilities and even with behavioral issues are on the rise, I would say that. We have this accessibility only in district hospitals, not in the remote BHUs, and also I think main problem is the accessibility. Many kids are not being accessible to such things, and even parents are not aware how important this assessment is, so that's the only problem that we are facing right now.
They also said children should be encouraged with activities that help with stimulation of the brain since they are at a developing stage. Ishori Gurung, BBS News, GELEPHU.
Well, that is all we have for you this week. Join us again next week for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, this is Sherab Zongmo saying goodbye.